In ancient Greek mythology, Lamia was a beautiful queen of Libya who became a child-eating daemon. The goddess Hera slayed all of Lamia's children in anger because Lamia slept with her husband, Zeus. Lamia's subsequent grief at the death of her children caused her to turn into a monster who took revenge on all mothers by stealing their children and devouring them. Lamia was described as a bogeyman, a night-haunting daemon which preyed on children. She was a daughter of Poseidon and mother of the monster Scylla. The Sphinx was a monster, which had the head of a human and the body of a lion. In Greek mythology, the Sphinx was considered to be a woman. She also had the wings of an eagle and the tail of a serpent. She was sent by the gods to plague the town of Thebes as punishment for some ancient crime, preying on its youths and devouring all who failed to solve her riddle. Those who cannot answer its riddle suffer a fate typical in such mythological stories, as they are killed and eaten by this ravenous monster. The Chimera was child of Typhoeus and Echidna, according to Greek mythology, a monstrous fire-breathing hybrid creature of Lycia in Asia Minor, composed of the parts of more than one animal. It is usually depicted as a lion, with the head of a goat arising from its back, and a tail that might end with a snake's head. According to Greek mythology, Bellerophon killed Chimera with the help of his trusty winged steed, Pegasus, killed the Chimera with a bow and arrow from the sky above. The Hydra was a serpentine water monster in Greek and Roman mythology. Its lair was the lake of Lerna in the Argolid, which was also the site of the myth of the Danaids. According to Greek mythology, Hydra was guarding the entrance to the Greek underworld. The Hydra is a 9-headed serpent-like snake, and one of which was immortal. It was said that if you cut one Hydra head, 2 more grow back. And the middle Hydra head breathes fire. However, when one of the Hydra's heads was cut off, 2 more grew in its place. Charybdis was a sea monster, later rationalized as a whirlpool and considered a shipping hazard in the Strait of Messina. This monster was live under a small rock on one side of a narrow channel. The Charybdis was the daughter of Poseidon and Gaia. She was the daimon of the tides, with her thrice daily sucking and expulsion of waters imagined as the cause of the 3 high and low tides of the day. In Greek mythology, Cerberus, often called the Hound of Hades, is a monstrous multi-headed dog, who guards the gates of the underworld, in which spirits of the dead are permitted to enter but none are allowed to leave. The father of Cerberus was Typhon, the mightiest and deadliest monster in Greek mythology. A huge fire-breathing dragon said to have glowing red eyes, 100 heads and 100 wings. The Cerberus is usually described as having 3 heads, a serpent for a tail and a lion's claws with snakes protruding from various parts of his body. The Scylla was a monster that lived on one side of a narrow channel of water, opposite her counterpart Charybdis. Scylla made her first appearance in Odyssey, where Odysseus and his crew encounter her. According to Greek mythology, Scylla had 6 ferocious heads, each with 3 rows of sharp teeth, sitting on 6 very long necks. Her body was made out of several growling dogs and 12 feet or tentacles. Scylla was once a beautiful nymph loved by the sea god Glaukos, but her jealous rival, the witch Circe, employed magic to transform her into a monster. In Circe's island, the witch mentioned to Odysseus to sail closer to Scylla than Charybdis, as the latter would surely destroy the whole ship, while the former would only eat a few of his men. The sirens were really dangerous, man-eating creatures, who lured nearby sailors with their enchanting music and voices to shipwreck on the rocky coast of their island. They were formerly handmaidens of the goddess Persephone, and when she was secretly abducted by Hades, Demeter gave them the bodies of birds to assist in the search. Their song, irresistibly sweet and lapped both body and soul in a fatal lethargy, the forerunner of death and corruption. Their song is continually calling on Persephone. Sirens were believed to combine women and birds in various ways. In early Greek art, sirens were represented as birds with large women's heads, bird feathers and scaly feet. In Greek mythology, Medusa was a monster, a gorgon, generally described as a winged human female with a hideous face and living venomous snakes in place of hair. She was originally a golden-haired, fair maiden, who, as a priestess of Athena, was devoted to a life of celibacy. However, after being wooed by Poseidon and falling for him and married him. For this offense, she was punished by the goddess. The goddess turns her golden hairs into snakes and eyes into bloodshot, furious orbs. She was known as the serpent goddess because she had half of her body as snake's body. Anyone who looked into her eyes was immediately turned to stone. Typhon was considered the mightiest and deadliest monster in Greek mythology. He was created as a last attempt to repel the Olympian gods from defeating the Titans during the Titanomachy. Typhon was terrible, outrageous, and lawless, and on his shoulders were 100 snake heads, that emitted fire and every kind of noise. Typhon spat out showers of poison from his throat, the mountain torrents were swollen, as the monster showered fountains from the viperish bristles of his high head. According to Greek mythology, Typhon challenged Zeus for rule of the cosmos. But in the challenge, Typhon got defeated by Zeus with his thunderbolt. Thanks for giving me your time. Please like and share if you like the stuff and don't forget to subscribe.